You mentioned that you painted your home. Do you have any advice for home sellers on paint colors?
Well, I painted not only outside, I painted the exterior, I painted the shutters, but I also painted inside, even though my paint was relatively pristine and I just moved in 6 years earlier. So I'd totally painted it when I moved in as an interior designer. I wanted to make my own choices. Surprise, surprise. And I did make some bold choices because I'm not afraid of color. So while the main part of the house was neutral, two of the bedrooms were different shades of blue. One of the bedrooms was yellow. I had a green room. Like I really have a flair. And instead of doing everything neutral or certainly white, which I am totally against, oh my gosh, especially because as soon as I sold my home, I went on to buy a home, right? And I'd been looking for a year and a half. And if I saw one more stark white home, white outside, white inside. First of all, it's super trendy, that modern farmhouse dark white look. But second of all, it betrays every flaw. I mean, nobody looks good just wearing a plain white sheet, and either does your house. So I really think a neutral is nice, whether it's kind of a creamy beige, a gray beige. Grays are somewhat out right now. People are looking for that warmer palette. But I did not change the colors, the bright colors in those rooms. What I did do was touch up the paint. Anywhere there were imperfections, when I took down a lot of the personalized wall art, the family pictures all went into storage. Then I patched those holes and painted. And sometimes that meant, that the little patch areas didn't quite match the rest due to sunlight fading and things like that. So I had to paint the whole swath of wall. But painting, as one of my stager friends says, is cash in a can.
Mhm.
And it is the way to give that fresh, clean foundation on which I hung generic art, right?
And if I can jump in real quick and add one thing to that from the cleaner's perspective, we can clean your baseboards all day long. I know in the UK, they're called skirting boards. We can clean them all day long, but if you're going to paint that wall, go ahead and paint those baseboards at the same time. That is the little board that runs along the floor where the carpet meets the wall so that it tucks the carpet in underneath so you don't have loose carpet that peels up. And it collects dust from everybody that walks in. So yes, if there's humidity, like in North Carolina where I live, that dust that settles there, if it's not dusted frequently, it can turn into kind of a darker color, like a little dirt that's stuck on there. Go ahead and paint all of that while you're painting the walls. That'll really upgrade the look of your home.
Right. And a freshly painted home speaks again to what we've all mentioned. It gives the feel of a well-maintained home, and that's really important for buyers. And I think that, Regina, was probably an issue that your client had today, just seeing a house that didn't look like it was well-maintained.
The thing that was sad is the house itself had been maintained pretty well. They needed a regular cleaner to come in or someone to come in because it was literally all of the things that, like Angela mentioned, that you get kind of blind to. They had teenage kids and pets. And so every light switch, every handle, the door jams, you just were like, didn't want to touch them.
And it's interesting that I've got a home office in my house where we have employees that come in and they sit there. And there's one employee that always kicks the wall under the table. And so should I move the tables today and were we going to sell the house, that whole wall has to be painted because of all the kick prints on the wall. It's not a big deal. I don't mind it, but I'm not going to paint until we rearrange that seating arrangement so that we then can do it all at one time. But it's the little things that you overlook because you see the house every day that if you will, like Betsy's saying, if you will just go in and you'll touch it up, it doesn't mean you got to repaint the entire house, but there are little areas that need extra special attention because if a person walking in does not know, oh, there were a whole bunch of people that sat in here every day and they were kicking the walls with their foot, you're going to walk in, what you're going to say is, wow, this place is all beat up, right? Little black marks all over the walls. What the heck, right? A little paint can cure that just like that.
Yes.
And while you're often like visually blind to the things like Angela mentioned, you can also be nose blind, right?
Mhm.
So your house itself, especially if you live in historic areas like I do, where the houses are old, they have their own unique musk, right? That you forget about after living there for so long. And I think it's really important. I am very sensitive to smells. I hate the smells of fake deodorizers, Febreze. None of that works for me. I immediately start sneezing. But I got organic candles all in the same scent that wasn't too floral. I wanted to appeal to a lot of people. So I got like this cotton laundry scent of organic, naturally scented candles. And I had one scent throughout the whole house. So it wasn't like they were experiencing different aromas in different rooms, which could potentially be overwhelming. But I wanted to mask any scent that I could no longer smell.
That's a great tip. And so many buyers come in and they have the same sensitivities. So not only can the overwhelming sense trigger something like, are they hiding something? But it's being sensitive to what the people coming into your home, what may trigger their allergies. So that's a great tip.
And if I can jump in again one more time, not to keep throwing cleaning at you, but I mean, hey, that's what I know, right?
That's what you do.
Important.
A lot of home buyers and home sellers getting ready to buy a house, what they'll do is they'll try to clean between each showing. And so they're spraying stuff like Febreze, and they're spraying cleaning chemicals and stuff like, oh, hey, this smells so clean. Let me just pour Pine Sol in the toilet and this and that and whatever. And they're trying to create these smells that then the house smells clean. I want to remind you guys that clean does not have a smell. And so if you keep masking it, the smells over and over and over again with cleaning supplies, it doesn't impress anybody like, oh, hey, the house is so clean because I keep smelling all these chemicals that that are supposed to be clean. Clean doesn't have a smell. And so if you will eliminate that and you will use non-toxic products with no scents, it's going to make it so much easier for, if you're just like Betsy said, you've got one smell that goes throughout the whole entire house, let that be the smell. Let that be the smell, and don't try to compete, because all these weird competing smells that people, and house cleaners too, have sensitivities. But a lot of homeowners just over the years, from all the different products that are available, they've got the sensitivities too. And if they walk in a house and their eyes immediately turn red and their nose clogs up, they're like, ugh. That's not a good user experience. It is not.